Hey everyone, how's it going? Azren, the language nerd here. Hope you're doing very, very well. My voice feels pretty shot, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Literally all I've been doing for the past, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 hours is just talk. Because I've been, today's Saturday and I hosted, as per most Saturdays, various events for language learners. And so there's lots of talking happening, especially this time because I ran a TPRS event or workshop or TPRS style of activity, I guess we could say, which required me to do a lot of talking, be very expressive, all of that good stuff. For those of you who don't know what TPRS is, it's something I'd highly recommend you look into. It is an effective way to teach languages. And to be perfectly honest, if you're learning a language, I would highly recommend you go on YouTube and search TPRS and the language that you're trying to learn. So TPRS French, TPRS Spanish, TPRS Arabic, whatever you're looking for. See if there's any content, because I'm a big fan of it. I think it can really be an interesting and impactful way to learn something, to learn a new language rather. Now, with that aside, I want to jump into the main topic of today's video here, which is an extremely, I guess you could say, effective way to teach and learn languages that I recently discovered. Often I find people have bad habits when they're learning languages. They make habitual errors. There are things they keep doing over and over and over and over. And no matter what you do as the teacher or as a language learner, no matter what you try, you find that you cannot break those habits. Well, one thing that I've been doing when I've been running my classes lately that's been working ridiculously well is, I guess you could say, tracking and giving a percentage on how many times someone does something correctly and how many times someone does something incorrectly when they're speaking. Let me give you an example. I was working with a Spanish class, or rather a Spanish private student, and this particular student has an extremely bad habit of just throwing verbs out of her mouth in whatever conjugation she wants. So for example, if we use an English example, instead of saying I eat, she might say like, I am eating, like ate in the past tense, I ate, and then she will add an ing. Like, it's just completely bonkers. She just does very, very poor grammar conjugations, and she consistently, and I mean consistently, makes the same mistakes over and over. Instead of saying something like, I don't know, ¿Cómo estás? She might say something like, ¿Cómo esto? Or like something really, it's weird stuff, and it's always the same stuff. It's super weird. And so I told her, hey, let's give her a name. Let's say it's Sarah. Her name's not Sarah, but let's protect the innocent here. Let's say, it's like, hey Sarah, let's take this whiteboard and let's create a chart. One chart is the column for X's, the other chart is a column for check marks. Every time you're speaking and you conjugate something and you say something correctly in the present tense, I'm going to give you a point in the check mark column. Every time you say something in the present tense incorrectly, I'm going to give you a negative point in the X column. The point of this activity, I told her, is that you must get at least 50%. So 50% of the time you use the present tense correctly, other 50% of the time you used it incorrectly. And then we picked a conversation topic. I have a whole list of, I have this sheet that I use for driving conversations and creating conversations. And we picked a topic together and we started to talk about it. And something magical happened. She had, I forget the exact percentage, but I think it was like, it must have been 80% of the time, or maybe 70%, 89. It was a high percentage. It was well above 50. I forget the exact percentage, but it was well above 50% of the time doing it correctly, when normally she's like 80% incorrect. And it was a huge shift. And I've done this now with multiple students various times. I'm doing it with everyone that has bad habits now. I've done it with my accent reduction students. I'm doing it with people that have bad grammar habits, bad pronunciation habits, any kind of habit. We do this activity because what it makes people do when they know their speaking is being graded by me, their teacher, they slow down and they go, whoa, how do I say that? Let me think about it. Let me think before I speak. And normally what they're doing is they're just speaking, because when they speak, they're still getting their message across. People are still understanding. They're still getting the desired outcome. Even though they said, I is good, instead of saying, I am good, people still understand, and they didn't correct her, and the conversation followed. And so even though he or she knows in the brain that I is good is wrong, it's getting the job done, and so they don't make any real effort to change it. But now there's real incentive. I'm grading them and grading their performance on how accurately they're using their language in the grammar example, but I've done it for pronunciation too and many other things. And all of a sudden the bad habits suddenly start to get fixed. And the crazy thing is that literally one session like that, the next time I've talked to people like that, often, so far, I need to do a little bit more testing to see if this happens 100% of the time, but so far, with my early results, is that the next time I see that group or that private lesson or whatever, the next time I see those people, the changes have usually stuck, or they stuck decently well. They haven't gone backwards. They've actually fixed the broken habit. Now, like I said, I need to actually do some more testing with this to make sure, is it one lesson like that and all of a sudden the bad habits are gone? Is it multiple? What's the number? But definitely this is the one thing that I've done recently that across the board has helped people to see progress and progress in this respect when they've been trying so many other things and it has not worked for them, and they just are stuck in the same habits and routines. So give that a try. If you're a teacher, do that with your students. If you are a student, it's a little bit more difficult, but you could hire a tutor or hire a private tutor, take a class and ask your teacher to do that. That's an option. Another way you could do it is you could record yourself speaking for 10, 15 minutes a day, talking about your day, talking about whatever. And either A, you listen for your errors and you go, ah, crap, I messed that up, oh no, and catch your own errors. Or when you're speaking, being very conscious to get your own errors and do it yourself. Difficult, but you could. But that is also an option. I think the easiest way is to have someone else listen to you. So even if you're a self-taught language learner, this is the time to go out, hire a private tutor, hire someone for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, right? Have them listen to you, have them do this activity and help you really change that habit. It works incredibly well so far in my experience with everyone I've tried it with, and I recommend it to you as well. The last thing I'll say on this topic, it's a different version of the exercise that I've not done as much testing with, but I believe it to be really important, and I think there's going to be some really good effects and very good, not consequences, but very good results from this experiment. I like to do the same drill where you're tracking how many times did you do that grammar point or that pronunciation point correctly, how many times was it wrong, was it an X? It's also good to turn this into a listening drill. So when to have the conversation, when you're in your lesson, talking to your student, to your teacher, whatever, me as a teacher, I will on purpose make mistakes and the student has to catch them. Every time the student catches it and corrects me, they get a point. Every time they miss it, they get a minus point. This is a good drill too, because I find many people only listen for meaning when they're listening to people talk, but they're not listening closely to see what they can learn from that person. So when I'm listening to people speak, native speakers and everybody, I'm listening for meaning, but I'm also listening like, oh, interesting. That person said table feminine. I've been saying masculine. Oops, I better fix that. I listen like that, but I've been noticing more and more that most people don't listen that way. So this activity trains people to start to listen and use their ears properly so that when you're listening to native speakers, you can actually learn simply by listening to people talk, and you can learn more passively because you've trained your active listening skills. You don't necessarily need a teacher or someone to outline everything for you. You have the listening skills to catch patterns to do it yourself. Does that make sense? So anyway, hope you like this video. It's been this whole concept has been a big breakthrough for me with my students. I think it can be a tool that many teachers use and tutors use in their classes. And I think language learners, if you just share this video with your tutor, with your teacher, or if you hire a teacher, share this video with them or talk to them about what we're talking about here, what you want to do, I think it could be a really good, a very effective, rapid, very quick, and very cost-effective way to get rid of some of the bad habits that you have. So anyway, hope you have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we will talk later. Bye for now, guys. See you.